This is the Uprising Revival channel. Welcome to today's show. I have to cover this story because it's laughable. Hopefully the image I'm able to use on screen so you can see the image for yourself. But the mainstream media stories out there are called the Lady Gaza Metro, the mysterious subterranean tunnel network used by the hummus food, right? Other places like Bloomberg. Hummus secret tunnel network complicates the offense that's going to be used against Hamas. So a secret tunnel system. And then, of course, they have a staged photograph of a guy with a bandana over his face holding, of course, assault military rifles, etc., standing in the tunnel, kind of holding his hand up like, hey, don't take a picture of me. Well, if these are secret, mysterious tunnels, then how is there a photo op being done underground? It's almost like they're pretending like, hey, the media snuck down into our tunnels. Please don't photograph me, and they take a picture. Wouldn't they just, I don't know, shoot them? I mean, is this a joke? Right? I mean, what people really should do first when they see this is just use their brain, right? And we'll get into all the stuff with the secret tunnels and how we know these exist. And this is all part of the intel agencies, which shows you, of course, this is obviously coordinated. They don't have the ability to do this unless they're working directly with Mossad, which of course they are. And of course, we know that these are the tunnels exactly like this, at least underground here in America. Hundreds of miles of tunnels. And they tell you that these things are for attacks, et cetera, et cetera. All right, hundreds of miles of tunnels, because we know that they use these for trafficking. And of course, they'll tell you it's to, for things like fentanyl and all sorts of stuff. We know what they're really doing with these tunnels. And of course, we know who's really behind all of these tunnels, because all roads lead back to the bagels, right? But let's start with this if you have common sense. If you see a photograph, kind of like this one, which hopefully is on the screen, with a man with a bandana over his face, holding up his hand going, please don't take a picture of me. And the title of the article is about mysterious secret tunnels that these people are using. Does your brain automatically at first go, well, if it's a secret tunnel, I guess it's not such a secret since all these mainstream media outlets are reporting it. And number two, okay, well, if it's a secret tunnel and a mysterious tunnel, how did this person with the camera get down there? And then number three, how did the person who took the photo get down there while the guy's going, oh, don't take a picture of me, and survive to leave there? On top of leaving there, how did this person get these photos circulated to the regular world? Did they email CNN directly? Did CNN then get the email of the photo and then verify that it was actually, well, of course not. These are all things that brains should be doing, using common sense, looking at these photos, and then realizing that people are hurting you and working you. But again, nobody does because nobody thinks. And when you're getting hit with all these frequencies like everyone is, your brain tends to go into autopilot. You don't think, you just act and respond, and your brain is just asleep. You're being lulled to sleep. These people are being lulled to sleep, and they are asleep. So essentially, when they see stuff like this, they just go, oh, secret tunnels, like in a movie or something like that? No, like everywhere. Did you know that there's secret tunnels like this under America? We covered it, the Denver airport. Our entire continent, underneath it is secret tunnels. All of our tax money has gone to it, and all of these people who pretend to be on the surface level live underground. And underground, they live the way they want to live on this level, on the earth. They live underground doing these things with all of those little ones that go missing. With all of the, you couldn't even name the amounts of perversion and just depravity going on under there. All the rituals that we all talk about go on under there. And again, that's why a lot of people don't believe they actually occur, is because they need to see it on the news to think that they actually occur. And then, of course, with the technology we have today, it'd be very hard for them to do this stuff out in the open and not get caught. So when they do it on the Earth's surface level, they do it underneath churches. They do it in Freemasonic lodges. But for the most part, where all of the traffic and all that stuff occurs, it's underground so that you can never catch them. So that being said, they're revealing what they're calling the Lady Gaza Metro. You can't make the titles out. I mean, it's laughable, right? It's like watching a television show. So the myriad tunnels under Lady Gaza are best known as passageways used to smuggle goods from Egypt and launch attacks into Bagelville. Oh, so this is a regular thing, because last we all checked, I mean, it's pretty. The attacks on Bagelville always happen somehow with this military that Bagelville has. Somehow it just always seemed to happen, right? Even though we know that these militant groups work directly for Bagelville. I love how they use terminology like smuggling goods. So they built all of these secret tunnels. Probably would cost hundreds of millions, if not billions. They claim this tunnel's 311 miles. Okay, just so they could smuggle in goods. What are they smuggling in? Cigarettes? I mean, when they say smuggle goods, think about that, right? You know, like when you go on a vacation and you come in from another country, say you went to like Mexico, right? They ask all those questions. Did you bring this? Did you bring that? You're not allowed to bring. So they went to all this effort because, you know, they didn't want to go through TSA to bring in, you know, let's just use cigarettes as an example, or a plant from another. I mean, give me a break. Give me a break. People should immediately go, how did they build these? Who allowed them to build it? Who funded it? And what is the purpose? Right? But nobody does that, and nobody knows or thinks that all of these underground tunnels, like they don't even think they have the capability to build tunnels like this, a tunneling system. That's another thing that's amazing. People in America don't realize that they even have the ability to, and when we talk about it, they're like, oh, that's insane, that's crazy. All right, what do you think a lot of these homes cave into the ground for, right? Because the ground is weak around them, but probably because there's tunnel systems around all of us, okay? Because there's everything going on is going on underneath a lot of the places that they're currently at least building on top of. So this goes on to say there exists a second underground network that the Bagel Defense Forces refer to as the Lady Gaza Metro. It's a vast labyrinth of tunnels, by some accounts several kilometers underground, used to transport people and goods, to store rockets and ammo caches, and house Hamas command and control centers, all away from the prying eyes of Bagelville's aircraft and surveillance drones. So think about now, when you realize that these people are working together, you start saying to yourself, well, what is happening here in America? Oh, the same exact thing, right? I love that they say transport people as well. What does that mean? You mean transport the people like you did in Maui? Because we all know that's exactly where all those missing people went, right? Again, that's not on the news anymore. Not being discussed anymore at all. Not even the rebuild. Nothing. Right? But we hear stories like this, right? We're supposed to just accept them as is and then just imagine like we're in a James Bond movie that they're transporting people and goods underground, storing rockets and ammos. Oh, and they're hiding out from Bagelville's aircraft and surveillance drones. Because, you know, Bagelville's aircraft and surveillance drones are the ones who are funding them. Okay? And they're working together just with different names and titles of these agencies and militant groups, just like here in America. So Hamas, the food, in 2021 claimed to have built 311 miles worth of tunnels under Lady Gaza. So if these are secret tunnels, by the way, why would they come out in 2021 and tell us that they have them? Wouldn't that kind of be like defeating the whole purpose of this? Telling us that they have tunnels underneath us that they're using to transport people and goods, you know, smuggle in cigarettes, whatever narrative they want to use. Not so secretive anymore. And of course, if they tell you there's 311 miles, right? And there's your 333, by the way. 3 times 11, always coded, is 33. If they're telling you it's 311 miles, just like with everything else that they tell us, we know that they are way further advanced with their technology, with the things they could do. So if they tell you, just imagine it tenfold. So this is probably thousands, probably tens of thousands of miles worth of tunnels underground all throughout. I mean, it's everywhere over there, you know, and they just pretend that these are military compounds. These are, of course, these are all just built by design. Like somebody came with the idea, like, let's hide underground. So that, you know, they're hiding underground because this is where all the missing people go. Okay, in all the countries. And they just make up a boogeyman, et cetera, et cetera. And they're like, oh no, the tunnels are just for, you know, to avoid surveillance from here and there. Oh, right. And why do we have them here in America? Oh, well, they won't tell you that. They just want you to think, you know, in the Ozarks, over in DC, all these underground cities that they have, they want us to believe that it's just for fun. And of course, it's for safety in case there's a nuke attack. Because, you know, if there was a nuke, we need to protect all the politicians, you know, the same ones who would be behind any type of attack on this country because they're all in on it. So they say in 2021, they claim to have built 311 miles or 33 worth of tunnels under Lady Gaza, though it is unclear if that figure is accurate or posturing. If true, Hamas underground tunnels would be a little less than half the length of New York City's subway system. It is very intricate, very large, huge network of tunnels on a rather small piece of territory, right? So why would they need that much on a small piece? Because they just pretend, right? And by the way, you know, here's another mindset. When you think about these tunnels, these are like traps, right? Like if we all actually got access to the maps of all the secret tunnels here in America and we all knew where they were, they wouldn't go under there when crap hits the fan because we'd all be waiting at the entrance and exit. Of course, we'd have to get through the military first, waiting for them because they'd be sitting ducks under there. They wouldn't be able to navigate around, right? They'd only have to go in certain ways and out certain ways. So if we all waited at all the exits of these, all you'd have to do is throw in a gas bomb or a grenade or something like that, right, to take care of it. But they pretend here, they're like, oh, we've known they've had this intricate tunnel system where they're planning on popping up out of the tunnel so that they could attack Bagelville. Well, why wouldn't Bagelville just go into the tunnels and flood them out? I mean, isn't that a scene in like the Batman movie? They're like, go in there and flood them out. Flood them out. Just why don't you just stream water in there then? Right? Why don't you just put some hoses in each one of the entrances and exits so they all run out and arrest them all? Right? Of course not, because they don't want your brain to work or think. So it's very intricate, very large, huge network of tunnels on a rather small piece of territory. It's unclear how much the tunnel network would have cost Hummus. Of course it's unclear, because they don't want you to know your tax money in America funded this. I mean, give me a break. Which governs the it governs the impoverished coastal strip. The figure is likely significant both in terms of manpower and capital. And of course, the pictures they show you aren't what it really is like under there. They want you to think it's like, oh, it's, it's kind of like they're crawling around. No, it's literally like living on the surface level, just, minus a lot of things, right? Where do you think a lot of the carbon's going that they're sucking out of the air with the vacuums I've been talking about, right? The carbon vacuums, this is giving them an excuse to suck carbon out of the air and then filter it down underneath the surface so that these people can live and even farm under there, which is what they're doing as they plan to destroy the Earth's surface. So Lady Gaza has been under a land, sea, and air blockade by Bagelville, as well as a land blockade by Egypt since 2007. It's not believed to possess the type of massive machinery typically used to build tunnels deep underground. Experts say that diggers using basic tools like burrow deep underground to dig the network, which is wired with electricity and reinforced by concrete. Bagelville has long accused Hamas of diverting concrete meant for civilian and humanitarian purposes towards the construction of the tunnel. How convenient, right? You mean turning a blind eye? Bagelville's turned a blind eye because they're behind this and they're allowing them to build these things? Yeah, that makes a lot more sense because that's the actual truth. So the tunnels have been an attractive tool of warfare since medieval times. Today they offer militant groups like Hamas an edge in guerrilla warfare, negating some of the technological advantages of a more advanced military like the IDF. What makes Hamas tunnels different from those in Al-Qaeda is the mountains of Afghanistan or the Viet Cong in the jungles of Southeast Asia, is that it has constructed a subterranean network below one of the most densely populated areas on the planet. Nearly 2 million people live in the 88 square miles that make up the Lady Gaza Strip. Oh, very, very interesting, because we know that this is exactly the same thing happening here in America, right? And they say, well, what makes it different from Al-Qaeda's, theirs is in the mountain. What makes it different is the same thing that makes it the same, right? It might make it different because, well, this is in a city and Al-Qaeda's was in the mountains of, when they told us about the caves and all that stuff that they use as propaganda. The simple fact is there's a lot in common, like the intel agencies are the ones behind it and funding it, like the CIA. So it goes on to say it's always difficult to deal with tunnels, don't get me wrong, in any context, even when they are a mountainous area, but when they are urban area, they're even more complicated. The tactical aspects, strategical aspects, the operational aspects, and of course the protection that you want to ensure to the civilian population. Oh, you mean the same people that you're killing and attacking, right? I mean, these people, these governments are all plotting together, all with these intel agencies. It's a massive herding mechanism, ladies and gentlemen. The technology and all this stuff we've allowed these militaries to build up was for our demise, not for the boogeyman overseas in the cave, not for the guy with the short mustache. We've all been told to be afraid of the next one of them because he's one of them too. No, it's always been about building up these militaries so the governments can use them on their own people. And that's what we're seeing here. Okay, that's exactly what we're seeing here. The fact that they're even bringing this up, and they say, look, this is the last quote of the article. There's no foolproof solution to deal with the tunnel threat. There is no iron dome for tunnels. Oh, yeah? Okay, well, I would like to think, let me just give a notion. If somebody's trapped underground, that means there's only so many ways in and so many ways out. Look at it as if it's the police showing up at a house and say there's been a crime committed at the house, right? Well, what do? They go, okay, well, there's a crime inside. Is the guy still inside? He's inside. Okay, well, cover all the exits. Okay, so there's the first step to deal with the tunnel threat, right? I don't care if there's 100 exits. Fine. You strategically go, there's 100 exits, then we need X amount of people at each exit. Then you do the operation and you roll every person into all the exits. You have people standing there ready to go and you smoke them out of the tunnels. It's very simple. Somebody with no military background like myself could figure that out. Somebody who sits and plays Call of Duty all day could figure that out. Somebody who watches true crime could figure this out. It's basic human concept thought, right? It's common sense, in other words. So they said there's no foolproof solution how to deal with it. Well, I'm just giving you the blueprint, okay? I'm not Albert Einstein, okay? I'm not one of them Freemason bagels. But what I am is somebody who uses their brain. So anybody out there could think of this. And if you're telling me that all these people who are getting paid so much money can't think of how we could deal with the tunnel threats, but they know that the people listening just go, oh, wow, that's intricate and scary. I'll let them deal with it. I'll get back to playing Pokemon on my phone. Instead of going, well, why don't you, if these bad people, instead of going after the civilians and bulldozing the surface, which you're doing in Lady Gaza, why don't you find these tunnel systems you're claiming they're operating in, and then you could use something as simple as a hose, you could use something as simple as a grenade, you could do something as simple as just send in military from each one of the entrances and have them lay their lives down for the cause if this was really what was going on. But it's not. They're giving them a reason to exist still, and they're just giving more of a reason to say why they can't catch them and end this without civilian casualties. So they're going, oh, well, we can't, we need to just, because the common sense thing here is to say, well, why do they need to annihilate all of Lady Gaza if it's just this small group of militants doing it? Go and find them and take care of them. So they're going, well, it's hard to find them. Oh, okay, well, you're telling us that they're underground, so it's not so hard to find them. Why don't you just go underground and take care of them? Oh, well, they're underneath the city. Oh, they're underneath the city. So does that mean that you need to wipe out the entire city? I mean, you clearly know the tunnels. They're photographing themselves in the tunnels, right? Apparently, they're clueless, and that's what they're telling us, even though we know it's a deliberate photo to, for this narrative and this story, right? You can't figure out where they are. What are you going to say? Oh, well, they could be getting into the tunnel from a store. Oh, okay. Well, why don't you use all the technology you have and figure out the exact mapping of the tunnel, which I'm sure exists. This isn't like somebody just wrote on pen and paper and threw it in a garbage can after they were done and lit it on fire. There's clearly blueprints for it, so find it and then do what you would do in a common sense situation. Smoke them out of the tunnels, get rid of them, and then you don't have to wipe out Lady Gaza. Oh, right. The point is to wipe out Lady Gaza. That's the point. To create terror on the citizens. That's the point. Because this is a war machine operating. And guess who the victims are? All the civilians of the earth. So I wanted to cover this story. I thought it was absolutely ridiculous. It's unbelievable that people fall for this stuff. Just the photographs alone are enough to be in some type of spoof film. And if I wasn't able to get the, because this is recorded, then I edit it. If I wasn't able to get the photo in the video, and I had to use the logo because to get around the algorithm, just Google search. Let me tell you the name of the article, just so you have the specific one that I'm seeing from CNN. Because I just can't stop laughing at it. It's the Lady Gaza Metro. Take the lady part out. The mysterious subterranean tunnel network used by Hummus the Food. And then you'll see some of the photos in there of the tunnels. And of course, the guy going, don't take a picture of me. Right? Don't take a picture. You can actually just see it in the actual Google search when top stories come up. So hopefully the picture was able to, I probably will be able to get it in there. I just might have to block out the weaponry in the hands. I'm pretty sure that triggers the algorithm as well. So this is unbelievable, folks. They're just talking about these things with no solutions. So it gives the boogeyman an excuse to continue the attacks so that this thing could be, like the headline on CNN also says, this will be a very long war. Well, how convenient. Why will it be long? Well, because we'll never be able to find them. They're in an underground tunnel. Oh, right. All right, we won't use common sense here and smoke them out of the tunnels. It's so unbelievably ridiculous. It really, truly is. But people buy it. They buy it. And the fact that they want to get rid of people like me and you on the internet is because they don't want people using common sense anymore. They want them listening to their one-sided narrative, believing the propaganda, and getting led astray. So I'll continue to do my best to get this content up. I thank everyone for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless all of you as always and your families.